The legend is back to lay claim to his fame, bringing the biggest plays from football's greatest names, right? Sanders, Elway, I gotta proclaim, we waited too long for the return of this game. All Pro Football 2K8, rated everyone, 10 and up.
So you got a raid tonight?
Nah, dude, I'm just on 5-man shit. Just trying to get my 70. Pretty much it.
Oh man, I was gonna ask and see if you wanted to play some Gears tonight.
Gears? Nah, dude. 2-person co-op. It's all about the 4-person co-op, dude. Halo 3.
What? I'm talking about playing some multiplayer, man. I gotta get my Seriously achievement.
Nah, dude, I'm good. Halo 3, baby. September 25th can't come soon enough.
What?
I smell elk.
Slime attack!
Ah! What the hell?
I guess I won't
Hey,
throw
hey,
that
hey,
one
no,
at you.
that's a deadly implement right
I
there.
just keep that there, right there for you.
So I guess you've been
Put that
playing
back.
Dragon Quest Swords, huh?
I have.
I can see that it's infecting your
slime
mind.
fever has
good.
gripped me.
So what do you think so far?
I'm of two minds about it. Like on the one hand, I actually really love it. Getting combos, like building your combo meter, and the boss fights are excellent. And then on the other sense, like it drives me crazy. Like it really pisses me off because I don't know how you found it, but like the sword swiping mechanic is not as exact as I would like.
Yeah, it's kind of iffy.
Oh, almost 100%. And now it's like, by the power of Grayskull, wham! What? I didn't even fucking hit him. How is that possible?
I think maybe part of the problem is that when I hold the Wii remote, I don't hold it parallel to the ground.
Right.
You know, I kind of hold it to the side, and so instead of reading which direction I'm moving, it's like reading relative to the remote or something. I don't know, because yeah, there'll be like a stack of enemies. I want to make a downward stroke, and then all of a sudden I'm like slashing across. It doesn't do anything.
That
It's
happens.
no good.
That happens a lot. And when it's working right, when I'm getting things like, because later on there's levels where you really want to be hitting exact diagonal slashes. Like it really gets pretty intense later on. And when it's working right, how it's supposed to, like it feels great. But so often, I swear, I'll be holding it exactly like this, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go left, right, left, right, left, right, and it'll work a couple times, and then all of a sudden you'll get a slash like this or a slash like that, and yeah, it's very twitching. A lot of times that'll still hit the enemy, and that's fine. But a lot of times it's like, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Another thing I notice is when you slash, you'll slash down like this, and now you're not pointing at the screen anymore. So you have to put it back at the screen, find where your pointer is, and a lot of times the time that you have until the next thing is coming to hit is not very long. So one, you have to get it back on screen, find your place, and hit again. Two, a lot of times when you're pulling it back up, it reads it as like another slash. So you're like, and it wouldn't be so much of a problem, except that after you play it for a while, you want to keep increasing your combos. Like one of the real addictive parts of the game is hitting guys over and over, and once you miss once, that's it, your combo's gone. But it continues from combat to combat. And like I was getting 50, 60 combos where you start to get really paranoid. You're like, okay, shit, I just want to make sure that I hit a guy.
The game really wants you to be precise in your controls, which seems counterintuitive because you're like sitting there making like you have a sword, so you kind of want to get into it, but if you do, that's when you start screwing up. I don't know, the interface, as much as this game is built around its unique interface, I kind of feel like the controls are a little crappy.
Well,
like moving around with the D-pad on the Wii remote, why can't you just hook up a nunchuck and control yourself that way? That would be like, hi, I've played FPSs on Wii, and that's how it works.
So that's the first thing like Square Enix has to do when they bring this game to America. Everybody who's playing the import has said it. Enable nunchuck control.
On one hand, it's sort of like an on-rail shooter, like, Time Crisis or House of the Dead or something. And seen that way, this game is pretty much epic. But on the other hand, it's kind of like an RPG, and if it's an RPG, then it's really shallow and disappointing. And I don't know exactly where it stands. It's kind of like straddling the two genres a little bit uncomfortably.
I like these aspects of it. Like, it is definitely made for replay. You get these items after you beat levels, and if you get ranked when you beat a level, and then depending on that you get items that let you upgrade your swords, and you're buying new armor, and that part of it's really satisfying. Like, your shields fall apart after they take so much damage, but you get better shields. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. There's some weird weapons. There's like a dog weapon, I don't know if you saw, that barks when you attack, and a dog shield that barks. So I was actually like pleased by the depth in it. Like, not only the upgrading your weapons, but that kind of stuff. It really felt like, and other people made this comparison, like Punch-Out, especially in the boss battles.
No, I definitely agree.
Yeah, later on, guys do different things, like they form a shield while their little minions come and heal them, but if you use a certain attack, you can knock away the minions. There's, they do attack combos that you have to defend all against and then hit them back. All the bosses are excellent, and like you're saying, it really encourages replay, not just because of the score thing and getting the items and the experience points. You do have to level grind a little bit, but also these optional paths that are blocked off that you can't get to the first time. Almost every level has one or two of them, and then if you come back, break through the barrier or get across it or do whatever you couldn't do before, there's a new boss. There's like optional bosses that you don't have to fight, which is really cool. Did you do any of the super special moves?
I tried it, but the interface, the first time I used it, was a little annoying to me, and so I wasn't exactly sure when I was supposed to do the power of Grayskull thing.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And then drop it, so my timer ran out before I could actually do it, which was annoying. Right. I saved it up to use it against the knight, and
right.
then I biffed it.
I mean, some of them you just have to like do a circle, and then it gives you actually time to hold up the sword, and just so you can do like one slash, and you're supposed to like, get all into it and stuff like that. One of them later on you do like a circle movement like this. One of them you actually have to make like the infinity symbol, and then you like slash it down. But that's when it gets like really ridiculous, where I'd be playing for so long my arm would be hurting. You can't play it like they said you can play most Wii games, just sitting back here doing like this.
Yeah,
you do have to hold it. Yeah, you do have to hold it out like this. You almost have to be standing. I was sitting doing it, but because you have to be holding the thing perfectly flat and moving like this, your arm does actually get a little tired after a while. This is the game that people were talking about. Like, you think you look like a jackass playing like Wii Sports or something. This is the game you absolutely cannot care what you look like,
when
because
I was playing it, I told my girlfriend, "You're going to see me do some very stupid looking things. Please don't hold this against me.
Don't look at me.
It's for work, okay?"
It's awesome. Oh, we got 100%. Holy shit.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
that's it. That's
Nice.
the stuff. It's funny. I expected way more of these kind of games for Wii. It's cool that it is like actually a real game for Wii. It's
It seems to have a lot more going on for it than, say, Umbrella Chronicles, which looks pretty shallow and uninteresting. And I feel like Dragon Quest Swords would have benefited from another maybe 6 months of refinement and improvement. And it's not like Square Enix doesn't have enough money that they could hold on to it for a little while. I feel like they kind of rushed it out.
Well, they've got it now. They've got that time before the US version comes out. So, despite its faults, like, I'm definitely addicted. Like, I'm going to finish it. I'm on the last level. I, like, marathon through it over the weekend. And, like, it does have that same, like, I want to get back and see what upgrades my sword has and that kind of stuff.
And I can definitely see where I would be interested in finishing it once it's actually in English. It's just, right now, I don't feel like dealing with the language thing and all the townsfolk and so forth.
I mean, I will say it's gotten me to pick up and play my Wii, which nothing since Paper Mario, since Super Paper Mario has. I really didn't know what to expect from it. I wish there was a little more polish to it. I wished especially the control sensitivity worked, just because I have become such a combo whore. But like, all in all, a very simple, plain-looking game. It basically looks a lot like Dragon Quest VIII, just
not as nice.
first person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not quite as
The cell
detailed.
shading.
Yeah, right.
Next gen.
Gone are the days I'll never forget. When Barry cut right, back, forward, then left. The late hits, the deep ball, the games that don't quit. The clothesline, the face mask, and the benches that won't sit. When Rice reinvented hustle, Icky did the shuffle, Elway launched the aerial attack. I missed that game. 2K Sports has brought it back. Football's returned to the fans who helped make it. And this time we'll keep it, and won't let them take it. All Pro Football 2K8, rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
Hey man,
Hey, what's happening, dude?
so do you have some more time to play the Quake Wars beta?
Oh man, definitely. I had to after you like dropped all that knowledge on me, right? That was Sean Elliott's school for how to play Quake Wars. That was some dope shit, dude.
That game takes a while to learn though.
We're hacking the source control.
It does a decent job of telling you some of the like higher order tasks that you need to do, but when you first get in, it kind of assumes that you played that style of game before. So they're definitely, when I first went into beta, I saw people that, how do I get into a vehicle? How do I build something? And stuff like that.
I actually played a lot of Wolfenstein Wars, and I was like, whoa, how the hell did I like feel like such a noob when I started Quake Wars?
The two are different. There are more things you can do with each individual kit depending on what you play. But in the end, that's kind of the thing of it. With like RTSs, a lot of people don't play them online because it's so intimidating.
Right.
There's just so much to learn. And every moment you're not playing, someone else is getting better and learning new tactics that are, you're not going to have any defense against. But I don't think it's anywhere near as intimidating as that kind of RTS experience. And that's because, if you go in and you do what sort of the automated mission sequence tells you to do, a little list of things will come up.
When you hit the M button.
Right.
Because I thought that was cool. That's actually one of the things that I figured out. You didn't actually show me that, but I read up like on the forums you were talking about use that button to like get assignments, and that actually works really well to like learn how to use your kit.
And the trick there is that when you do that, you're not only helping yourself get more points, but you're helping your team. And we've all played Battlefield with a shitty commander, right? He's just like dropping jeeps on his own guys and not doing anything. So here they said, well, we have to assume the game's only as good as the weakest link, so we can't put that much power in anyone. So by automating it, so if you come up with it's automated and it comes up with the mini mission, says, hey, we need you, Garnet, to go and take out this satellite array that's showing the rest of your team's location.
Right.
When you go and do it, you're going to get points, but of course you're going to help your team because maybe you had a number of guys trying to infiltrate this area to build an EMP disruptor or something like that. It's another way to handle things that's kind of, it has like the Darwinian approach where it's like everyone in here is selfish and they just want points. So what can we do to make people do things that help the rest
it makes you play more team-like, right? Mm-hmm. But the difference is like after you gave me like the whole 411 on all the different Strogg stuff there's a lot to do with each of the different infantry classes.
Grenade! Grenade!
Like each one of those characters you were showing me not only had their primary weapon and their secondary weapon, but had like 2 or 3 other things that they could do in the battlefield, whether it was setting deployables or using the deployables in different ways and reconnoiter or however they were doing it. There's a lot to learn there, so it does have to have that balance, like with the missions, and it does have to have the balance of people learning how to play. If you have an unbalanced side, if you have like a bunch of guys on one side that know how to play and a bunch of guys that don't on the other side, it's going to be ugly.
Whenever you have like an attack defend type scenario where one team has bases that can't be captured and the other's bases can all be captured, so that makes them the defenders. It's a harder job for the defenders because if they mess up, then they're gonna have to fight their way all the way back.
Like set up with like choke points, and once you overcome a choke point, there's no way for the defender to really fight back and regain that choke point.
It's fixed in this game. You've been pushed, and so unlike Battlefield, or I was going to mention Unreal Tournament 3, which is dealing with the same problems, the same category of game, and with their warfare mode they've taken now, and basically they want to encourage exactly what you're saying. They want a lot more dynamism and back and forth, but they don't want the all over the place stuff that goes on in Battlefield. In the spectrum of solutions for this type of game, Quake Wars is the one now where it's just linear, kind of like the old attack,
assault
defend, and
mode.
Team Fortress.
It's like assault mode out of UT,
and Team
right?
Fortress before that.
It would be cool if like the Strogs could eventually push you back out, rebuild the gate, you know, put their defenses back in place. Maybe it's more difficult.
Yeah.
But that would be a cool like push and pull kind of battle.
It's tough because it's like there's no right answer really, you know. I mean, for everyone that says, "Hey, I want like the back and forth push and pull," there's someone else that says, "Well, I don't want a match to last for 2 hours."
Right. Well, there's that for sure.
You know, elastic yo-yoing type stuff.
Target approved. Rounds incoming. We're building the EMP disruptor. Do I look like a Strog?
This is a game like Battlefield, but it's like the opposite because the soldiering part is so much more fun than the vehicle part in this game. What do you think the chances are that the vehicles will get right? I mean,
I'm already like changed my mind now. Like
really,
but it's like on a per vehicle basis. Like I love the Strog, the insipidly named Strog Hog. Like a death racer, you know, the handbrake and then the energy shield on the front, and you can. The shield's so powerful that you can ram a tank with it and basically drive right through it at full speed. You know, you do a power slide, they scatter, and then they're trying to come back.
It's almost like jousting.
Gratitude.
The GDF tank's really fun. I'm fine with it now. It's an awesome. It might be a little overpowered, but there are other vehicles where, you know, I don't really understand what you know, if they need some balance work.
Like the quad. I mean, it's great for getting you around quick, but you can keep on advancing your spawn points. So what do you need it for?
Like you said, to get around quick. It's the equivalent. It's because the game's so asymmetrical. Strog have what's called the Icarus. It's the jump pad.
Or the flying thing.
And at a glance, you're like, whoa, that's far superior to a quad, right? The map in the beta doesn't show it, but there are two GDF aircraft. One of them's kind of a dropship, like it's a futuristic Black Hawk type thing. And with the parachute ability, so they can jump out in mass and just like overwhelm an objective point or something like that. And so you start to see the checks and balances in the broader scale. But with the quad, one thing that you might want to try is if you take an explosive charge, put it on the front and prime it. And they're timer based in this game, you know, unlike Battlefield where you have a clicker. But so you get the timing right, and you know there's a turret here, there's, you know, an energy shield over here, and then there's guys that like to hide out here and put mines. Roll that thing and just get off and let the momentum carry it in, and it's a really, really big explosion.
That's why you are the master of games like this, is because you like come up with creative crap like that to do.
That's the fun part, you know. You just look at the tools and see what the obvious use is, but then say, well, is there something else I could do with it aside from the obvious, you know. GDF has a spy camera that has an explosive charge in it, so, you know, the obvious use, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to put this at a contested area, monitor it, and then when the forces come in, then I'll detonate it. But then it also serves as a radar, so you can throw it on one of your vehicles, you could throw it on one of your quads if you want, and then it becomes a mobile radar post. And if you want to say, hey, I've got an artillery guy who's just waiting to fire his anti-personnel artillery, but he needs a target, I'm just going to zip through this woods real quick, see if
Spotlight
anything comes
everybody
up on it, and then he can immediately call that in.
And I'm thinking that actually it's going to be like maybe October, November. What do you think?
But I think I've heard October.
Really?
It's going to be a busy month, man, because now that means Team Fortress is coming out, and that's interesting because the guys, at least quite a few of the guys that are making Quake Wars, are basically got into this type of game by playing Team Fortress, by playing like early versions of Quake, you know, Quake Fortress and stuff. So it's funny to see them putting games out that are going to be going head to head. UT is coming out, same category. If Crisis comes out, it's multiplayer modes again, another army versus army thing with vehicles. But that's the big if. Can these guys get their game out in time?
Dude, they promised. It's done. Remember? No big deal.
They said that to me I went there last summer, and they told me that in the last holiday season it would be done.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Didn't he do Ghouls and Ghosts already?
Yeah.
Must have been popular or something. Like Ghouls and Ghosts was hard, but it's good.
Persona!
So he didn't actually ever.
Come on,
finish
what's up?
Ghouls and
Persona.
Ghosts, though.
That's like the hottest shit. Are you guys excited about Persona?
Well, I am.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe not the
Not to your
cosplay.
degree.
Game of the month.
Well, yeah, I will agree with you with that.
You like
yeah.
me more than me.
Yeah.
I love her.
Why,
Game of the month in EGM.
Yeah, Shane, why did you only give it an 8.5?
Only. That's like
Yeah.
a really great score.
No, that's a disgusting score for this game. I don't know what it is, Shane. Maybe it's this job. Maybe it's getting to your head.
Have you played the other Persona games? See, I have.
Yeah,
I have a
me too.
long history with this
Yeah.
franchise.
I love it. This is the best one.
Persona 1 and 2 were pretty, impenetrable for if you weren't a hardcore dungeon hack guy who would like go to all the effort to learn how to make personas, how
Right.
to like, master talking to these different monsters and get them on your side. So this one's a lot more friendly and accessible. That's true.
Do you remember the night you came here? You had to have noticed the signs.
What?
Didn't it feel like you were in a different time? That's the dark hour. We'd like you to lend us your strength.
You guys have played way more of it than I have. I only played the first few hours. Like, how does the story progress?
Chronologically, time keeps going on. Even if you're not really pushing the story forward, eventually things do happen. I mean, it's a matter of how much you fill in the extraneous details, but it definitely has a direct linear plot.
And like, it's answering questions at a satisfactory pace. It's not just like Twin Peaks where it's just like more.
It's
and more
not just
questions.
mystery for mystery's sake.
Right.
And, yeah, like I think it's pretty fulfilling.
So, who's gonna take the lead?
I don't see any reason to change leaders now. And Yamagishi, I want you to handle support during the operation.
I'll do my best.
All right, then I'll let you decide on the rest of the team. Let's do this.
The thing that I liked most about this is, besides the kids
Besides
who
kids shooting themselves in the head.
shoot themselves in the head every single combat before they start attacking. Which, if you notice, like there's a disclaimer before the game starts,
This is
like
true.
about like the views are not necessarily those of Atlas. I've never seen that before in
Yeah,
any
they're not
game.
implying you should shoot yourself
Yeah.
in the head.
Battle system's really good because it's so fast. I mean, it's a lot like Final Fantasy X too. It's just very speedy and snappy,
Actually,
and it's
that's
just
the battles reminding me of
it's
too.
very,
I
very
like them
satisfying.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old school like Suikoden 1 style. It's like it's over
Right.
in like 30 seconds, and
Yeah,
I love
so-
that.
You can see the enemies if you really want to. You can avoid them. You can sneak up on them and hit them from behind and get the advantage, or vice versa.
There's one enemy! Attack! The enemy's weak against wind.
I know a lot of people who are used to more direct style combat like Final Fantasy will be upset that you only have control over your main character and the other two people are AI. I mean, you can affect their AI and switch it, but until like halfway through the game, you can't have them knock enemies down. Like once enemies are knocked down, they won't finish them off. You have to like unlock that ability. And I think some people will be pissed off that you can't have complete direct tactical control over your party.
Outside of combat, one of the things I really loved is how you can split up your party.
Well, that is cool because
yeah.
they can go find things. Yeah.
Right, yeah, you send them out and it's like they'll find the exit, they'll find the stairs, they'll find treasures and stuff like that. Yeah, they can get attacked on their own, but like that was one part. It's like, okay, fine, thank you, save me time, especially when the enemies are
But
pretty
don't you get
weak.
pissed off? I mean, at the same time, they're willful, but they get tired, they're sick, they don't want to go anymore. You're like, come on, I'm in charge of you, character.
Right.
Do what I say.
Well, there's two parts to the game, right? There's the dungeon crawl, and then there is the high school life.
Right, and the high school life is new. Like the old games didn't really have that, and it's almost like a dating game. In my review, I compare it to Brooktown High. I think that segment.
Oh my god.
Well, that segment of Persona 3 is a better like social interaction game than Brooktown High.
There's not a whole lot of dating in it. I mean,
Right.
mostly
Well,
it's
more
just like trying to
making
make.
these relationships, and not just with
Yeah.
girls, but with other people. Like, and those affinities affect the gameplay because you get better with certain spells and better
Right.
personas
Right.
based on your friendships.
When you're doing this stuff and you're like going to the athletic club or like the art club. It's satisfying in its own right. It feels like it shouldn't be, but it's like, oh, that person kind of likes me. Oh, that's great. Know you're bettering your character because it's making your attacks better in combat.
I think the secret to the game is its pacing. And normally I really hate games that force you to go back to the same dungeon over and over again, like Breath of Fire, Dragon Quest. I really didn't like that game because it made you do the same thing. But this one, because the school stuff is so fun and fresh, you don't mind having to go back to it. And you know that, oh, tomorrow night we all can go back to the dungeon, and there's enough save points every 5 levels so you don't really feel like you're losing progress.
Right, yeah. You normally I'm the same way, like randomly generated, dungeon, like forget about it. I'm not interested.
The graphic set does change every few floors.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah,
and it's pretty easy until you get to the bosses, and that's kind of a Persona thing. Usually the bosses, like you realize, my level is not high enough. I don't have the right persona, and this is kind of the same way. You will get killed by bosses.
Be careful!
It's not perfect. So part of my 8.5, there could be more stuff with the social interactions. Like, you really don't have that many choices. Like, when you go to school, you can only do 1 or 2 things a day. Sometimes nothing happens at school. Like, I would have liked that to be more fleshed out. I would have liked a more complex dating system, because I think what they have is so successful, they could have ran even further with it. In my review, I talked about how they put out a separate appendix in Japan called Fez, which was like a gift to the fans who made this a success. And in that, they included a bunch of new endings, to where if you max out your relationship with all the friends, you get like special scenes in the ending for each of those friends. And I think that kind of like personal touch that really makes it pay off, a lot of reward for doing all that, is absent in the current version. But it's still cool and still worth playing.
I think it was fine as it is, personally. I think the reason I didn't give it a higher score is basically because of like the dungeon thing.
You mean the random?
Right, that's sort of like the dungeon hackiness sort of thing. But I think it's that the rest of the game complements it so well that it doesn't really matter.
Graphics could have been better. I mean, it's a PS2 game. Like, how much are you gonna ask for? But
pretty good.
The characters are like too simple.
I will say the character designs aren't as good as Persona 1 and 2. It's a different guy, and they're not quite as good. They're still good, but they're not as.
They're a little more kiddie. They're a little more simple. They're a little more big-headed.
I do think overall this is going to be a big success. It's getting a lot of good praise, a lot of good word of mouth, but it is really Japanese. Like Persona 1, they tried to like Americanize it and like make it set in America, and this one is very much set in Tokyo.
Yeah.
From the
people are calling people senpai.
You're going to school on Saturday.
Yeah,
they're celebrating weird holidays and like.
But it's impossible to really localize. Like, I mean, you have train station. I mean, the entire thing is very much set in a Japanese high school, so it isn't gonna resonate with people here as much as it does with kids in Japan. But it's still really cool, especially if you're at all into the anime or like the whole.
If you don't know anything about Japanese culture, you might actually be confused by some of the stuff here. There isn't a lot of context for things. You might have to do some research to actually understand what's happening.
Right. This is what's great about an old system like the PS2 is these, what you might think of as niche titles. I don't think this one even has to be a niche title, but like this kind of game coming out.
RPG/dating game. I mean, that's not exactly mainstream fare, but yet it might actually be a success because it's coming out at a good time.
And it can find its audience, and its audience can have it. There's enough people that own a PS2 that hopefully there is a good audience for this sort of thing.
All right, I'm taking my Persona and leaving. You guys made fun of him. He's awesome.
Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Come on, now that you're here, let me introduce you. C-Trip. Get off the others, you're a true DJ. Go. Now that you're here, let me introduce you. Call it tune up. Bat on the mic. Turn the biz. Yeah, me
of my melanin. Exoskeleton, flex so well against the best, go tell a friend. And Z Trippy be the backbone elephant. Here to make it crack cause he scratch so eloquent. The top contenders who will not surrender. Undercover like my skipper had the hots for ginger. Completely loyal, get a whiff from the script and the beats we boil. Smoother than tea tree oil. The chance in this two-man truth that'll make you keep your mouth closed like the Blue Man Group. And I'm the ringleader making everything sweeter.
Pups and hunt prey. And like real wolves, players use scent trails to find prey and identify pack mates.
I smell elk.
December 2007 can't come soon enough, baby.